Okay, so we're working on 11 SolidWorks Whole Wizard. So we're going to download that model up here, open it in SolidWorks. We're going to use the Whole Wizard to create the counterboard parts, uh, counterboard features uh, per this print. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then we'll make an assembly with 2 hex bolts and 2 hex nuts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the print first. So this is our print. So here's the counterbore feature. So this is what we're going to build in SolidWorks next. So I've already downloaded the model. So I'll just go right to SolidWorks and we'll get started on the Whole Wizard. So what we're going to do is go to the Features menu. We're going to the Whole Wizard here. We're just going to pick on that. And we want the hole type to be a counterbore. So we're going to select that. We're going to make sure this says ANSI inch, and we're going to make sure this says hex bolt. And then we want the size to be a 1/2 inch. Okay. And with that, we're going to then select over to the position tab. And it's asking, do we want to use an existing sketch or 3D sketch? We're going to sketch in 3D here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And it's asking what plane do you want to put the holes on. So you can see as I move my cursor around, it switches based on the plane. So we want to put it right here on the top face, and I'm going to put 2 of them. So I'm just kind of moving over to the right there, and then I'll hit the, oh, actually, I don't want to hit the check mark yet. What I need to do next is dimension those. So I'm going to go to Smart Dimension, and I don't need to dimension their size, but I do need to dimension their location. So I'm just going to pick from there over to there, and we'll call that 1 inch. And we'll do the same on the other side. So from over there to over there, and that's 1 inch. And I'm going to actually move these around, these dimensions, because this will be the way it would show up on a drawing. So that kind of horizontally sets everything up. So what I need to next do is vertically set them up. So I'm going to dimension from that line down there to the center, and that's my vertical dimension. So instead of me adding another dimension, I'll use that center line trick here. So I'll put a center line, we'll add it in. And what I'd like is this hole to be on this center line. So I'm going to select the center of that hole, Control key, and then the center line, and then I make them coincident. And with that, I have a fully defined sketch. So I don't need to do anything more here. So I'm going to click this check mark on properties and hit the check mark on hole position. And when I'm done, I get a nice feature here built for me automatically with just the sizes that I created. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use this to create an assembly. So if you moved your assembly around, you might want to do Control 7. Just to get the orientation to be isometric. Not that you have to, but it makes it a bit easier to look at. And we're going to go ahead and select this down arrow here, and we're going to say make assembly from part assembly. So I'm just selecting that, and it creates a new assembly. And my Whole Wizard part is already started, so that's all I have to do is hit this check mark. All right, so it puts that part right in my assembly. And now what I want to do is I want to use some tools that I have to pick from a library of parts, which is the hex nut and the hex bolt. So over here on the left is Design Library, and I want to pick not the nuts there, but I want to look for ANSI inch, and then I want to pick down to bolts, or bolts are up here. And I want to go to, it's probably easier to pick from here. And I want hex nut. Okay, so I'm not doing anything special here, just grabbing this hex nut. And I'm just clicking on the picture and then dragging my mouse over. And notice what it's doing is putting a bolt right in my assembly. But if I hover near this feature that we created, it's going to do it automatically for me. All right, and I want the length of that bolt to be, I think the block is 1 inch, so let's go with 1 3/8. Okay, so we'll do that. And then we'll put another one in. And I'm done selecting my bolts, so I'm just going to hit the X here. And notice now I have 2 bolts automatically assembled in here. And next I'll go back to my design library and I want to look for nuts. So I just want to go to hex nuts. And I'm just going to pick hex nut from over here in the library. And I'm just going to hover right over the part. And it should size based on my selection there. So that's a good nut. And we'll do some on this side. So there's the 2 nuts, okay? So now you can see I've got the bolts and the nuts all assembled in here. Okay, that's all for this exercise.